This week in the League of Legends, we have patch 6.2 with the new Shen champion update. Jin is on the files, but he's not quite out yet. We've got the Lunar Revel, an interesting set of changes on the PvE, and the announcement of the clan system. All this and more on the Smaster Gaming Web Show.
This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. This is an ongoing show. We're talking a little bit about everyone's favorite middle-style battle game this week, 6.2. And we're going to dive right into it. We're going to go over Shen.
Later date.
I've
only seen him once so far.
I've had him a couple of times. He gets banned a lot.
Yes, that's why I've kind of not seen him.
He's super spoopy. So we'll probably go over him and Jin in the next video. Mono got changed. He got changed a long time ago. They changed the way Masochism works, and they're tinkering with it some more now. The minimum bonus damage went from 40 to 100 to 20 to 100, scaling 1 through 5. Now it gets a bonus attack damage ratio from 1% to 1%, like usual. However, it's tied into there, and it adds your bonus attack damage, your AD, all the way down to 100% missing health. So you can tinker around with this a little bit better, and you have a better understanding of the math and the flowchart of it. Sadism's cooldown went from 75 at all ranks to 100 to 70 at ranks 1 through 3.
That's going to be a nerf to his sustainability early game.
Definitely. I love it.
Yep, it's a good thing. Elise, her human form base movement went down by 5 points, and so did her spider form. Her volatile spider, the magic damage on it went down slightly at all ranks.
At all ranks. It's craziness. Fiora will now have slight changes to Duelist's Dance. Previously, it would be sort of random, whether it appear on the top, bottom, left, right, whatever. Now it alternates between the top right and the bottom left sides. So this is basically making the front vitals and the back vitals, depending on where you're laning, a little bit easier to predict, so you can
have more guaranteed chances and plan out how you're going to move around.
And it gives your opposing lane partner a chance to actually fight you instead of getting bad RNG or you getting bad RNG.
Yep. Gangplank, the Cannon Barrage cooldown has been increased from 140, 130 to 120 to 160, 150, and 140.
20 seconds at all ranks. That's pretty harsh.
Yep.
Karma, Focused Resolve W ability, has had its mana cost reduced by 20 at all ranks.
I still haven't seen a Karma this season.
I've seen a few. She's kind of spooky against early game characters, especially people that don't have boots. But after that, meh. Kha'Zix's bug fixes. He got some increases to the range of his abilities last patch, and I guess they're trying to make good on that. Void Spike, his W ability, can now be buffered slightly before he lands. Basically, this is sort of queuing up the spell. So as soon as you land, you fire it, and it actually goes off just slightly before you land, so you can do some wombo combo stuff. And same thing with Void Assault. So now both of these are able to sort of be queued up and cast, and you can unleash a really scary combo, which is pretty good for Kha'Zix. AD Assassins are having a hard time this patch, so good stuff.
Kindred, her Dance of Arrows, the mana cost went up to 35 at all ranks. Mounting Dread, the Wolf Pounce damage has slightly decreased at early ranks and all ranks actually by 20. Yep. That's kind of a bummer.
Well,
she's been super harsh.
Kindred is out of control, so This is a start. So Nunu, unfortunately, is getting nerfed. Ice Blast's cooldown is going down. The mana cost is going down. The slow duration, however, is going down. And the slow intensity is going up at early levels, but staying the same at the most. And the base damage is going down. And the ratio is going down. So, essentially, you can do it more often for less damage and less of a slow. So, getting slowed by a high cooldown Nunu is not necessarily a death sentence anymore.
Yeah, but I'm glad it doesn't hurt as much, because you see a high AP Nunu come out of the jungle and he just hits you with that Q, and you see just a chunk of your health. It's like, I couldn't do anything about that.
1.0 ability power ratios is pretty good.
He's one of the few characters that has just a standard Q ability that just goes no matter what now. Mm-hmm. Poppy, her passive Iron Ambassador, if a target dies before the shield reaches it, the shield will not return.
Nerfs.
Yep, the shield will now return to Poppy when it kills a champion with a zombie passive. Kog'Maw, Karthus, anybody like that. And when the shield on it is on the ground, it will start to outro animation earlier so Poppy knows when it is time to say goodbye. So they're kind of making sure that it's, players are understanding when it's going to go away before,
When, where, how, and why.
Hammer Shock, they're improving the EQ combo from 6-1. Hammer Shock will now only auto-aim targets towards the target if the mouse cursor has not moved significantly. So that's another interesting change. They're kind of getting some more functionality to Poppy. She's been a powerhouse in the LCS so far. I've seen her in 4 of the 5 games I've watched today. And
her combo is like massive damage for 2 abilities.
And you can just take out a backline. She flashes in Qs, takes out an assassin in the back, and then just beats him up and then comes back around. It's like, oh man.
Whoops. Rengar is getting changed just a little bit. The scaling on his Empowered Savagery Q ability was brought down, so the damage scaling went from 50 to 30% of total AD, and the attack damage buff is doubled to 20%. So less of a burst tool and more of a DPS sustain tool. Bola Strike now has a cast time when Rengar casts it while he's in midair. So if you're jumping through the air, you gotta huck it still some. Similar to how you have to do when you're not jumping through the air. Thrill of the Hunt's exclamation mark range has increased by 200 units. So this is how soon you know that Rengar is about to jump and try to murder you.
Yep. So essentially he has a bit more sustainability. His Bola works a little bit more often.
It's more uniform in the way that it behaves.
Yep, and then Thrill the Hunt, you'll detect him a lot sooner. But
Tom Cruise, an acquired taste, the stack duration of his passive has gone down from 7 to 5. This is really, really, really important. The hitbox for Tongue Lash is now a little bit more clear on when you can get it, especially versus the minions. Devour had some slight bug fixes to it, and Abyssal Voyage, the ratio of bonus health to damage went down by 2% at all ranks. Big nerfs to Tom Cruise. What a guy.
He's another character that has been extremely strong in this season so far.
Poor Frost Queen's claim. They nerfed this item, now they're nerfing it again. Active cooldown up 30 seconds. Ghosts no longer gain bonus move speed when they can see their targets.
Boo.
Morellonomicon, the combined cost is down by 150 gold. The total cost is down 150 gold. Good stuff.
Athene's Unholy Grail, cost is down, went from 565 to 465 for combined cost. Total cost went down 100 gold to 2,700.
Dark Seal, this is one of my favorite new items, and they have made it cheaper from 400 gold to 350 gold. So now you can get even more potions with your Dark Seal, so you can run that sustained mid, which I love.
Cole, the attack damage went up slightly on it from 5 to 7, and the final payout is now 350.
Which is good stuff. Rapid Fire Cannon had some bug fixes after they tinkered with it. Nothing important.
So they have changed the way wall collision detection means. So what happens is, before this change, when someone tries to flash over place a ward over a wall, the game tries to place you in a spot you want to go. If it can't, it starts spiraling out the location. Essentially kind of does like a Fibonacci sequence to see where the next possible area you can put is. And then because of the spiral, always the same, so you know where you're going to go. So after the change, it's the same kind of spiral effect, except you can't find a home in the wall. The system checks for the closest available spot that puts you out there, period. So essentially it changed kind of how the game detects where you want to go on a flash. So you're going to be seeing different areas you're going to be popping out at that are going to be more viable.
So you're going to have to relearn some ward and flash spots. Changes to masteries. The Assassin Mastery no longer increases the damage exclusively against champions, and the total damage is up by 2%, which means if you're fighting a lone creep or a lone jungle monster, you can get bonus damage. This is actually a crazy good change.
Yep.
Thunderlord's Decree, the cooldown on the activation of this ability went from 20 seconds flat to 25 to 15 based on level, and the stack decay period went from 5 seconds down to 3 seconds.
This is a huge change. A lot of people have had a problem with Thunderlord's Decree.
Well, it's the only one left that's any good.
Yeah.
And they're nerfing it. So long. Windspeaker's Blessing, tooltip correction. The armor and magic resistance bonuses have been changed. so that way the self heals and ally heals are a little bit more uniform. Basically, self heals and shields are not affected by this anymore, which is too bad.
Yeah. So they're changing around the ward debris a bit. They shows that the durability duration is now 240 seconds from 300, so they'll go away a little bit faster. Debris visuals have also changed, so they brightly glow at the first 10% of its lifespan, stops emitting flames after 30% of the lifespan, and the particle visibility changes and the debris shrinks after 60% of the lifespan. So it's kind of dimming down the visuals on when you see the different phases of how long ago that was there.
So, sweeping lens got changed. Basically, detecting characters in bushes now goes from center to edge rather than center to center. So, if you catch the outside of a character's hitbox rather than the center, you can still see them.
That's very good.
Farsight alteration is now slightly smaller and lightly tinted than a regular ward. So, this is just a viewability change on the minimap. So, you can just sort of do a drive-by. Hey, there's a Farsight trinket. Trinkets are not castable during channels as well. You know, for the 3 characters that have channels left.
Yeah. And that leads into the Lunar Revel. This is going to be coming out.
It's out now.
Is it out now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I totally...
Yeah, you can go get your bonus discounts on stuff and the new skins. I've actually played with the Caitlyn skin. It was pretty cool. And the Wukong video they released, which was cute.
Yeah, so I guess that there are 2 evil characters represented by Morgana and Caitlyn, one of them being the wolf, one of them being the serpent. And then the monkey is supposed to fight them off and save the people of the land, which is fairly interesting. I kind of like the art style that they put into it. For those who don't know that those are the 3 skins, they are also bringing back a lot of the older skins from the previous Lunar events. So this means we're going to be seeing Dragonblade Riven, as well as Warring Kingdoms Tryndamere, and some of the older wards. They also have added 4 new icons. You can get one for 250 RP or 1,500 IP, and then 3 icons representing the serpent, the wolf, and the monkey. I really like the serpent icon myself. It is gorgeous.
Green. Snake Man.
There are also a ton of Lunar Festival themed bundles, including previous sets.
And the Mega Bundle, which has all of the Lunar Festival stuff. All of it.
That is at 15,690 RP.
Well, that's what, like $40?
Right. They have also brought back the Lunar Revel mystery gifting, so during this event you have a greater chance of getting a lunar skin when sending it to another player.
Ooh.
And increases the chances of getting it for a legendary skin.
And now we have some Mech Warrior stuff as well.
No, it's merch.
Oh.
So they've introduced new merchandise with this bundle. First off, we have the Panda Teemo. This plushie is, I believe $30 American dollars. Interesting if people like Teemo, which I'm not a big fan of. They'll definitely enjoy this one.
But you dressed up as Teemo.
Yeah, you will never let me down.
Oh, you're Teemo!
We also have a new shirt. It has Jinx, Annie, and Tibbers on it in their Lunar Festival skins. It is a decent-looking shirt. You got like some bright colors on it. I think it would be better as a cool poster. But as a shirt, it's very bright and colorful. And finally, they have started the 2nd series of the miniature busts with Firecracker Jinx. This is only going to be available between the 2nd of February to the 8th, so it's only going to be around for a week.
The 1st of February, actually.
Yep. Did I say the 2nd of February? Whoops.
Curse you, European displays!
Yeah, it's very hard. So what this one comes with, it comes with a really cool and dynamic-looking Jinx figure, as well as the Lunar Revel icon for it. As far as skin characters go, I think she's the 2nd, the 1st being Championship Thresh, which they're still selling, even though they said it was limited edition. I was just like, ugh. But I might pick this one up if I'm able to get a hold of it. I really don't like Jinx, but I think just because the bust is so well detailed and it has kind of like the smoke effect on the bottom and Jinx riding her ultimate rocket, it's a great looking bust if you didn't like Jinx.
But Jinx doesn't have a bust.
And then finally, we're moving on to some PvE news.
The Clash of Clans! The mobile app has been announced for League of Legends.
They're calling them clubs, but the best way to describe it is a guild or a clan. and you'll be able to join one of these. So, if you play a lot with a bunch of people on your friends list and you want to kind of have a tag that is represented for your club or your team or your friends, you can do that. So when you join, I think, normal matches, you'll actually see your club initials right next to your name. Kind of like in ranked, you have your team name, and other styles of play, you will actually see your club name. I've been kind of shooting the idea of having a Spastic Gaming Club.
Oh.
That would be interesting. We'll see.
We are spazzes.
Yeah. I'm not on as much during the daytime, but having one around wouldn't be that bad. As well as we have the Valentines holiday coming up, so we have the tradition of getting skins with it. This year we're getting 2. We have Heartseeker, Oriana, as well as, I think, Harpseeker, I'm sorry. Heart and Harpseeker Sona. So, bright and colorful. I think the Orion skin is extremely creepy.
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see more male Heartseeker skins.
Because we had
Twisted
Varus.
Fate and Varus.
That's right. No, that was King of Hearts.
Well, yeah, it's close.
It's close, but yeah.
It's misandry is what it is.
Why don't I have a bustling ripped man running around in nothing but a Speedo and a bow tie?
I want something more than Tryndamere plus.
I think that would actually be kind of funny if we got like a Darius where he's only he has a bouquet of roses
His
and
ult actually rips people's hearts out.
The icon would just be like a throbbing heart and he hits it and it just kind of cracks in half. Oh, no one loves me.
Murder.
I would definitely be down for that.
Indeed. But that's really it for official news, right?
Yeah, we kind of combined the patch notes with the main show because I don't think it could last more than 10 minutes on each, so we decided just to throw it together.
And we're going to be talking about Shen and Jin next patch.
When we actually have...
Or, I'm sorry, not next patch, next episode, which should be coming up very soon. So hold out for that, and yeah, we'll complain. We love complaining. Anyway, moving on to our own section.
This question comes from someone I work with. I actually had to write it down in an email so I could remember it. And they were talking about MLG and a few other major league events for gaming want to do minor league competitive scenes where they prohibit anybody that is on a major league scene to compete in them. So it's a more open and sprawling event for people to kind of be seen by the major leagues. And from what he was telling me, it was in Street Fighter. They're doing a lot of other fighting games, Killer Instinct. I think he was saying Smite wants to do something like that. But I couldn't find anything online about it. But he was thinking, how will we feel about that kind of secondary scene?
I've done some amateur League of Legends. I've done some amateur Dota. I've done some amateur Counter-Strike. And some amateur Smash Brothers, actually. Some of them were tournament stuff, some of them were just local competitions, and they're tons of fun. I mean, as much fun as it is to watch the LCS, it's so much more fun to watch a bunch of amateurs actually playing and making mistakes and not picking meta. Like, that's more fun to me. And so I'm definitely all for this. I don't like sort of an open circuit, like, you have a bunch of teams like, oh, I bet I'm going to go to state. But sort of more one-off events where people show up as a team or even individually, and they just play for that day, and that day is the only thing that's important. I don't want people going through ranks and being like, well, I have a job, so I can't come to this event, and then they just don't. So, I like it. I want fans to have the chance to compete. I want my own chance to compete, and I don't want to deal with a bunch of meta-loving turds.
So for me, I was more into the competitive card game scene back in high school and early college, and I did a lot of events. And I think there's something about being in a competitive scene that is fun. I was never the best. I won a few, but I was always kind of in the lower tiers because...
Don't say that!
Well, between Jolly Green and I, we only could really afford one good deck, and he was a better player, so I'd always let him play the better deck. But what we would... Like, the whole feeling of being in that competitive scene and seeing how other people play is a good learning experience. And I think kind of more official sanctioned events for, like, League and stuff like that would be cool, where you have these gaming like gaming centers and stuff like that hosting verified events where there could be prizes and they could earn kind of like amateur points to kind of build up, kind of like how Hearthstone does with invitational events. And I think that kind of building a larger stepping stone for people to play outside of just ranked would be a good thing, because you play different in your home than you would, say, in a competitive scene, and that's definitely factors in if you are in that LCS style. So I think that getting that taste of it is always fun.
And it's not like they lack the money or infrastructure to do it.
Anyways,
that's really it for questions that we have this week, guys. We love to answer questions on the show. We try to get as many as we can, usually 2 per episode if we have them. However, that requires that you ask them. So, if you have questions for us about the show, about League of Legends, about MOBA gaming, about gaming in general, about what we're doing, about what we want to do, about anything really, please post them in the comment section below. Send it to our email, it's bestofgaming@gmail.com, or send it to our Facebook, Twitter, or website, all of which are linked in the information down below.
We are looking at questions, and if they are good enough to make it on the show and we find them, well enough, you might be receiving some right points.
Ooh, right points. But, yeah, we have a Patreon as well. Patreon.com/bestofgaming. You can join that to get bonus features, exclusive content, and some one-on-one time with your 2
best friends on the internet.
Maybe people that you know. I don't know.
We might have to redo that a bit since Patreon changed around their layout. So if it seems a little funky, we just haven't had a chance to get to it yet. But
it's pending.
Otherwise,
it's been access.
And Water... Oh, God. Hiccups.
Water God? Is this his new screen name?
Water God with an O is a 0 and a Z. Water God's...
Tell me more about this name. I'm gonna...
Well, you see, it all came out when I was in high school. No one really liked me, and everybody... Where are you going? No, I'm telling you, don't. Aww.
Oh,